you're doing well. All right, this video is going to be very short and very direct. I just want to use it to show you everything about buttons. Buttons have come to be something that is very available on websites, and buttons are things we use every day, especially when we are clicking and need to access one page to another. You're trying to click a link that will take you to another page. Many times when you are trying to navigate around websites, two things are usually um, used. Is either they use a hyperlink, which is just a link, like it could come in an example like see this or click here, right? Usually in color blue, yeah, blue text. Or if it doesn't come as hyperlink, it will come as a button. So most of the time when you are maybe logging into a website, you can see enter. Some button, you press it. When you click it with your mouse, it looks like it's pressing. And most of the time you write on it enter. Sometimes it could be close. And sometimes it could be uh, click here also. Alright, so how do you get buttons in place? The first and foremost thing is to have your HTML document ready. And for this class, when I'm talking about HTML documents, I'm talking about a document that has doc type HTML, head, title, all right, and whatever title you want to name the document, first title, title, head, and then body, and the closing body and closing HTML, right? So that's what I mean by basically your HTML document. So every other thing that comes within is within the body inside the HTML document. And before this class, we've had series of classes in which I used to introduce you to HTML and CSS. And so I want to believe that you are still conversant or you still remember all those basics of HTML, the elements, the attributes, attribute. When we're talking about attributes, we're talking about characteristics. For instance, you see button, and what can I mention two attributes of button? Yes, I can. Uh, Two attributes of button. There could be a number of them, but let me just quickly mention two. A button could have a color. All right, button will have shape, and in addition, I could say body has height. It has length. All right, so those are attributes. Those are attributes are like features or characteristics that an element possesses. All right, so quickly one like I promised. All right, so if you're writing your first button, because it's all about coding, here is the first document, the first button. I'll have it HTML button. All right, HTML button, that's the title. All right, and then this is within a paragraph. And then if you are creating button, what you need to just know is you use the button tag, button. All right, click me and then close the button. That is the basic. All you need to create a button. All right, remember we've not touched the attributes. No attributes yet, just a plain simple button. And what would it look like? Well, if you're going to check what it will look like, it's going to look like this. All right, HTML buttons. This is one that was the header. This is the paragraph. And click me. Click me. Can you see? It's clickable. All right. Excuse me. So from here, I go to the next one, which is this button is plain. And the next one I want to look at is a button that we've manipulated. We've manipulated the attributes. We've done something to the attributes of the button. Change the color, change the size, or anything like that. So what will it look like? Styling button. styling button. All right, you can see everything inside the document, HTML document, styling buttons, tests.btn. This is CSS. This is CSS. I'm sure you all remember. All right, so you could give it the sizes you want. Now look at it. We're talking about the button now, and look at it. These are the attributes of the button. It has background color, that's color, that's font size, padding, border radius, cursor. So I believe you remember all these from the from my class. All right, so this is where it is styled. When you work on the attributes of an object or an element, you call it styling. In web design, you call it styling. All right, so test btn, hover, background color, and all the stuff. Okay, and then uh, when we run it, you see what it looks like, because there are two buttons here. There are two buttons here. Look at another button here. All right, test btn, we have a green button here. So what does it look like when I run this code? This is what it looks like. Can you see? Other button, green button. Okay, so that's the code. You see, you'll find the code attached to the video. Attach the code to the video so you could go through it and use this as an example so that we can build on it in other classes. All right, the submit button is the next one. I'm sure if you're someone who's been using websites to fill a lot of forms, you're applying for maybe a grant, you're applying for your passport, you're applying for your examination, you're trying to pay some money, applying for membership of a club or whatever. HTML button type that you need here is called submit button. Submit button. Remember, there are different types of buttons. Buttons come in types. You'll find all this in the document. There's a submit button, there's a normal button, and then there is a reset button. Please take note of the three: the submit, the reset button, and then the normal button. So buttons are basically used within forms. That's why I said you might have had the experience of filling forms online when you were applying maybe for admission to university, applying for a grant, applying for so many things every day. Once you fill a form whatever makes you input your data, that at the end of the day you have to click on submit. That is a form you have filled out. So this is what we have here. This is just a simple form. All you need here is just a first name and then submit. All right, so because of the way it's been programmed, it's expected that it will give us a page here to show that it's been submitted. But because we don't have a back end yet, we have not programmed the back end, it has not given us any response that we're looking for. All right, so what if I write my name? If I write my name there, all right, and I click on submit, all right, it didn't go anywhere. Okay, what if I click on reset? That's what reset button does. It clears out everything you written in the form. Just normal reset from everyday use. Reset your phone, reset uh, processes. It means just clear it and restart and start from the beginning properly. All right, so that's for submit form. I told you we have normal form, we have submit form. All right, and then we have the reset form. So the submit and reset form are here together, while the normal forms are like these ones that we've seen before. Is a plain, oh sorry, normal I mean normal button, submit button, and reset button. That's what I meant. Sorry there. So submit button, reset button, all used in a form. All right. So these are normal buttons. We have styled this one in green color. This is also a normal button. Okay, let's move on. Um, the next one now is now what if you you're on your website, you want to just lock your website, you want to prevent people from submitting details. Maybe you give everybody deadline to submit and fill a document, and it gets to a closing date. And on that closing date, you don't want any submission anymore. So what you do there is just to disable the form. Disable the form. All right. For the before I go to that, for the submit button, this is the code. All right. Form action, because we're using it within the form. You can see form action, first name. These are all just the procedures. You must write first name, and when you're putting in first name to fill this form, you let the computer also know that the input type that will enter this form is going to be text. All right, and the name that's going to be there is the acronym is F name, first name. All right, this is quite very important. All right, and the input type, this type must always be specified, because if you don't specify the type, sometimes the computer could assume maybe your input is going to be a picture, or your input is just going to be an audio file, so it may not even process what anybody enters properly. So always notify the type, and even the button too, always notify the type of button, so there won't be a kind of mix up by the computer system. All right, so that's the first name. So the button type is submit. When you want to create a reset, button type is reset. When you let the system know that it's submit and reset, it will program it itself and prepare resources that this button will only be used for submission. So you saw when we clicked it the other time, it took us automatically to a submission page. But because it's not yet connected, that connection is not for this class yet. There's still quite some number of classes from now. So automatically submit button should do this. Should take you to the submission page. And then reset button should also automatically reset. That is, it clears the form. That's it. All right. So when you now don't want people to submit, like I was saying, uh, this is the procedure or process has reached the closing date, and you need to do something so that you don't receive further submissions. The best you could do many times just disable the button, the submit button. So we see something like that here. The code is playing. Doctor HTML disable button. All right, this is what is paragraph. A disable button is unclickable. That's whole one right there. So now look at the button. Look at the code. Button disabled. All right, button. You know, initially the other one was when we were creating a button, you use button open tag and then button close tag. But now, because the disable button, let the system not just know that the button you are bringing in here is a disabled button. So button space disabled. All right, you can now write disable button close your document. So what will this one look like? This is it. Can you see? A disabled button is unclickable. So all my attempt to click it now is just not going because it is looking so light and unclickable. That is what that one does. And finally, we're looking at button that is programmed with JavaScript. Such buttons are expected to trigger an action instantly when you click it. So if you look at the JavaScript attributes, one of the attributes of button is like when it is clicked, something should happen. So in JavaScript language, when it is clicked is known as on click, on click. All right. So the documents created, this is the header, there is a paragraph. All right. So let's look at it. Button on click. So when it's on click or when it is clicked, what should happen? I said there should be an alert. This is the way you write and structure alert, and let the word hello appear, and hello, click me, and then close the button, and there you go. So what does it look like? What does it look like when we do this? This is what it looks like. Here we go. HTML button. The button uses on-click attributes to run JavaScript. When you click the button, it shows an alert message. All right, let's go ahead and click the button. All right, this page says hello. That is JavaScript for you. So you click OK, and there it goes. That's all for the button class. Hopefully, as we continue lessons, and I tell you to create button at different places within the page, and might ask you to specify some attributes for it. This is all you need. No, put it to mind, practice with it, do your own stuff with it. All right, and then that will make it easier for you to handle it when you meet it in future very soon. All right, guys. So wishing you a great time writing your codes.